Justin here with the Atlanta Brick Company, and I am honored to be joined with the fathers, the proprietors, the owners of the Atlanta Brick Company. Now, I wanted to ask you guys, first off, is it Atlanta Brick Company or Atlanta Brick Co.?
It's Atlanta Brick Co.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Co. stands for company, right?
Yeah. It does, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So I should start saying Atlanta Brick Co.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will correct
that. There was a good reason for that. We came up with the name probably 7 or 8 years ago, and there was a very good reason we called it Co. and not Company.
What is that?
I cannot remember.
But it was a good reason.
It was a very good reason.
It sounds too much like Atlanta Bread Company. Is that why?
I don't know.
Maybe. We have had people calling for Atlanta Bread Company.
We had people calling for bricks and mortar, too.
Okay.
Almost on a daily basis. Yeah.
So when you start talking about studs and clutch power, they get really confused.
We've had almost 5-minute conversations with customers calling in before where we think they're talking about Lego bricks. They think we're talking about brick and mortar bricks. And finally it dawns on us that, we're talking about two totally different things here.
Yeah, last guy I go, how'd you hear about us anyway? Oh, I found you on the internet. Okay, go look at our name on the internet. You got it in front of you, right? Yeah. Scroll down. Start reading. And he starts laughing. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's why you're confused.
Pound of bricks, that's cheap. Yeah. that's a great price for a pound of bricks. All right, so this is our first podcast or video podcast, so I just wanted to do a welcome, ask you guys a few basic questions. A lot of these questions you guys have answered 1,000 times before, but since this is our first vlog cast, I wanted to go ahead and go over a few of those with you. Now, first of all, how did you guys meet?
I met him first in New York at the New York Comic Con. Gosh, I forget the year. What was it? 2011 maybe? And
maybe.
I was looking at his booth. He had a few tables there, 4 tables maybe. And I was looking at the figures and I'm going, that's what I'd price mine at. Yeah, that's what I'd sell that one at. Yep, that's what I'd sell that one at. And then I looked further and I'm like, look at these Daleks. They're awesome. He made his own stuff, and they were beautiful. And I spoke to Elizabeth, his wife.
Doctor Who Daleks.
Daleks from Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And I spoke to his wife. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, these are great. You guys make these? She goes, yeah. I said, oh, man, this stuff is incredible. Thank you, blah, blah, blah. That was it. I didn't put 2 and 2 together. The name was Atlanta Brick Company.
Co.
And I'm in New York, so I didn't even think that maybe they lived in Atlanta. I didn't even put 2 and 2 together. And then a few weeks later, I'm having a yard sale, and I'm getting rid of some G.I. Joe stuff that I had. And he asked me if I have any Lego, and I said...
He showed up to your yard sale.
My yard sale.
Oh, hey, I remember you.
He had some Lego out at his yard sale for sale. It was the Nintendo DS game cases.
Yeah, those game cases.
And it was a collaboration between Nintendo and Lego, which actually didn't really happen until Super Mario just came out. So you had a DS game case, and there was little studs on top, and they were not very popular. You also had a stylus, and I think they gave you a minifigure, and the minifigure was the best part. So Ed had pulled the minifigures out. You had Anakin Skywalker, and you had Jack Sparrow, and he pulled the minifigures out, and he just threw all the DS game cases that nobody wanted in a box. And he had a massive bin of about 100 of them. I was like, wow, that's interesting. You got any more Lego?
Right, that's how it happened. So I come into my basement, and kind of almost like the wall you see behind us, when you come into our store, you see this huge wall behind the counters. That was my basement of all these drawers. And we basically hit it off. We just became friends, and with him, he told me what he does, that he sells Lego too. I said, great, well maybe we can I can get more buying power from some of my suppliers. And that's exactly what we did. I'd call him up, I said, hey man, I got like 20 of these Ewok villages, how many do you want? He's like, I'll take them all. I said, no, I'm getting half, you get the other half. And I would buy them, bring them back to the basement. I'd leave the door open for him. I said, just grab whatever you need, make me a list of what you left. And that's how we would do things for 2 years.
Yeah, and it worked out really well because Ed was selling the minifigures on eBay, I think.
Yeah, take the minifigures out of the sets.
And then he was like, what do you do with all these pieces in these sets? He just had them stacked up off to the side. Well, I was selling on Bricklink, so I knew exactly what to do with the pieces. So I was buying the pieces off of Ed and then putting them on my Bricklink store. And then I showed Ed how to open his own Bricklink store and start selling those pieces himself, which he did very differently than I did.
Yeah. Epic fail.
Oh, it didn't work out?
It wasn't working out. I had to tweak a few things, but that's something that we'll get into later when you ask us more questions, because it's very important, but we'll get to that later.
Well, I'll go ahead and elaborate on it right now.
I did want to ask before we go on, did you recognize him? Did you remember him from the con when you went to his yard sale? Okay. Did you remember him? Did you know it was him?
There was 124,000 people at New York Comic Con.
Yeah.
It's the biggest Comic Con there is. It's bigger than San Diego, or at least it was at the time, because it had more people at it. It wasn't as active as San Diego, but you had more people at it. So, and that year we were the only Lego booth set up.
Wow.
Lego themselves wasn't even there. It was the year they did Lego did a big promotion with the I Heart New York Yoda.
Yes.
That's right.
Okay.
And that was not at New York Comic Con. I think it was
The Toy Fair.
at the Toy Fair.
It was at Toy Fair, which was
in
earlier.
They just, that one year, it was the only year they just skipped New York Comic Con for some reason.
And you were there. You were there to pick up the slack.
We were there, and it was great. And then we came back the next year, and there was Lego was back, and Nexonites had just come out, and they had this big Nexonites display, and they were giving away a free exclusive Nexonites something. And it was like, darn. It could have been, Marvel or something, but it wasn't. And so then the next year it was Bionicle was back, and they were giving away a free Bionicle mask, and that was a little cooler. But by that year, the fake Lego had hit the market, and everybody at New York Comic Con was selling the fake Lego.
Really?
And confusing it with our real Lego, and we just didn't want anything to do with it. So that's when we stopped doing.
Horrible quality. Those figures were absolutely horrible. Sometimes you get 2 right arms in a pack.
Yeah.
They were just this terrible plastic that breaks.
Yeah. I want to do a video of Fago, as I call it, one day. But okay, so back to what you were talking about, the failure. You were going to go into that? Why Bricklink? It's harder than you think, basically?
You gotta, because you start out, you have to start somewhere. So I started out with parting out sets and leaving the pieces in the sets, and then I would sell those pieces, and I would go and dig through the set pieces to find the ones that I sold, and I was like, this isn't gonna work, and I was just parting out a few sets at the time. Mm-hmm. So then I started organizing my entire garage and sorting it by part, and I was able to find the parts easier, but it's so time consuming organizing all those parts. So then I started actually paying people to sort my parts for me. Mm-hmm. And I explained all this to Ed.
And
he had his sorted by color. Mm-hmm. And
that was bad.
And also bins A, bin B, bin C, and
that's how I first started it out. And then you advised me to do it by element, and I had people helping me out, and they were so lazy that they didn't finish the job. So I had stuff sitting out to the side that I had to try to sort, and it was hard when you're trying to fill orders and you're trying to sort at the same time. And I hired people that were just unreliable, so that didn't work out very well either. And it was kind of a nightmare.
And the more you part out, the more time that it takes. I mean, there's just so much sorting involved.
A lot of sorting, and around that time too, eBay sales were were going down because a lot of those Chinese aftermarket figures were hitting the eBay, and eBay was not doing anything to stop these. I mean, they'll stop a Prado, they'll stop a Coach bag, but they will not stop a Lego minifig that's fake.
And at the time, I think they're stopping them now.
And they don't do anything, or they didn't at the time, to tell you, oh, this is not real Lego. They wouldn't.
They
tell
would
you.
actually call it Lego, which it's
Okay.
made me so mad because I was selling Mega Block too. They had really cool dragons and things like that, and I would sell Mega Block, and I would say in my description, "Hey, this will fit your Lego sets too." Oh, I couldn't do that. They just immediately blocked my auctions and said, "You can't say that, the word Lego." But these Chinese people are saying the word Lego. No response, nothing. That was interesting.
So how long were you guys doing that separately before the Glorious Union?
You were doing it longer than me.
Couple years.
Couple
Okay.
years.
And I'm not sure if we mentioned this, but we were at Ed's yard sale. I had my kids with me, and he had some Pokemon stuff that he was selling as well. And my kids were really into Pokemon at the time, so we were buying the Pokemon stuff too. We only lived 2 miles apart,
If that.
if that. Yeah, and that's the real coincidence. I mean, that is crazy that we were so close together. But Ed didn't mention that he had seen us in New York that one year. I don't think it dawned on him
Didn't dawn on me until later.
till later on.
Till I saw
And
the
he
Daleks.
Started seeing the Daleks. Yeah, I told Ed, I was like, "Hey, I need this part for my Daleks," and he was like, "Daleks," and it all started coming
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah, we worked together for probably about 2 years, and Ed kept saying, we should open a retail store. And I'm like, no, I don't want anything to do with a retail store. Toys R Us was struggling at the time. KB Toys had gone out of business. Toy stores weren't really succeeding.
At this time, was this a side gig for you, or were you doing this full time?
At that time, I was doing it full time, not selling Lego full time. I was working from home, selling whatever I liked. I sold a lot of golf clubs and other toys, action figures.
So you knew the aftermarket of a lot of different things. You understood how the want and the need.
Ed was doing the same thing, and it really was a hobby for both of us.
It's a side gig, yeah.
Yeah, we just buying and selling things is what Ed and I enjoy doing, and that's really what got us together.
Yeah.
Okay. So why Lego? Why not like Playmobil, Transformers? Why did the golf clubs kind of go to the side? Why did you guys decide on Lego?
I think it's multiple reasons. One of the reasons is its sellability and the way that we sell it, that the stores don't sell it. So we have that niche ability. You're not going to find what we have anywhere else but here.
Yeah, so you could go to Walmart and you can buy a Transformer toy, but you can't go to Walmart and buy just the minifigure that came in this big Lego set. And we're selling just the minifigures. You can't go to Walmart and buy just this one Lego piece, but you can go to Walmart and you can buy this G.I. Joe guy, you can buy this Transformer. So, Lego is so dynamic when you compare it to other toys like Transformers. So Transformers, for example, they're really cool. I love them. I played with them when I was a kid. They transform. You can fight with them, but beyond that, that's it. You know. Whereas with Lego, I can take this Star Wars set, and when I'm done with Star Wars, I can turn it into a castle. Or now I'm watching James Bond, I can turn it into a James Bond scene.
Transformers are 2 toys in one. Lego is infinite.
Infinite. Yeah.
The only thing stopping you is your imagination, or lack thereof.
Yes, yeah. And in a monetary reason, the resale on Lego is much higher than anything else, really.
That's
Is that
another
true?
reason.
Yeah, and so with the Transformer, I have lots and lots of Transformers, and they're all missing a piece. And I can't get those pieces very easily to replace the Transformers. Or sometimes those pieces are broken, and it can't be replaced.
Yeah.
So with Lego, if you are missing a piece, there is a marketplace out there to get that missing piece and complete a set. And then you have a feeling of completion, and you have something that's worth more money because it is a complete set. So you have something that can be restored. Whereas Transformers or G.I. Joe guys or anything like that, I restored G.I. Joe guys. I unscrew the backs and get the O-rings. I think they're size 6, and I put them in I make them tight again, but quite often their parts will break still and turn color, and then beyond that you can't fix them.
And a lot of vintage action figures aren't worth that much without the box, whereas Lego commands a higher price, box or no.
Box or no box.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Lots of reasons. You know, when I first started it, I noticed that, you know, my son wanted Darth Vader. I used to think those minifigures were the ugliest things. And I'm like, all right, yeah, let's go to Walmart. Let's get you Darth Vader. You know, you go to the Walmart, the Lego section, you can't buy the minifigures by themselves. Some licensing they're doing with Hasbro. You can't just get the figure by itself. You got to buy the whole $100-something set. But with us, you can just get Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And you don't have to buy the whole $100-something set where your kid's just going to throw the Lego all over the floor that you're going to step on in the middle of the night trying to go to the bathroom. So that's the plus side, and that's what we offer. Something that Lego just doesn't do. We do it.
You were telling me that there have been other startup stores like this, but they've all failed. They've all kind of gone by the wayside.
There's a few that failed, yeah.
In the Atlanta market and around the whole country. So, and I think it's very similar to, if you look at bars, the success rate of a bar is like 12%. And people will open a bar because they like to drink alcohol. And that does not make for a successful bar. It is, I hate to use that similarity, but it's the same thing with Lego. People will open a Lego store because they like Lego. That doesn't make you a good
businessman.
Business owner.
Okay.
You know?
So how do you describe your success? How have you guys lasted and even improved and gotten bigger and better?
Chris is a genius.
We don't play with Lego. We don't build with Lego. I would love to. I really enjoy building with Lego, but ever since we've opened the store, we don't have time to build with Lego. We have to pay other people to build with Lego. So if you really like Lego and like building with Lego, if you like buying and selling things, then maybe you could open a store.
Okay, so buying and selling things first, Lego
second.
Or maybe even third.
Well, this is the problem with that. Like, I'm a gearhead. I grew up in the auto body business as a kid. I had a wrench in my hand. And my father would take me to the auto auctions, and I would started making some money, and I would start buying cars. And there was this Camaro on the block. It was gorgeous. T-tops, had everything I wanted in it. It was a beautiful car, except it needed a rear end, had a hum in the rear, and there was a knock in the motor. And the bidding was going higher and higher and higher. And I'm bidding on the car. My father said, stop bidding. I'm like, why? It's a great car. Look at it. He's like, stop bidding. I'm like, why? He goes, it needs an engine. It needs a rear end. Yeah, but we got that back home. We got a rear end. We got an engine. He's like, and how much money is that going to cost you to put it in? Well, I could do it myself. That's your time. How much is it going to cost you to put it in? So after we did the numbers, the car would cost me $3,000. And he goes, okay, so how much would you sell the car for if you brought it home? 25. And he goes, stop bidding. Get away. Walk away.
Yeah.
And it was hard to walk away because, you know, you love cars. You're into that kind of stuff. And when your emotions get in the way, you tend to spend more money on something than you normally should. And it stung. It hurt. But I learned a big lesson that day. Don't get your feelings involved. Take your emotions out of it. This is business. And that's what Chris and I are good at. We're good at compartmentalizing and looking for the value in that item rather than the awesomeness of the item. We get a lot of stuff coming in here.
Yeah.
There's been a couple times where we had to turn down a collection or two because we just couldn't come to an agreement on price. Happens. But yeah, we'd love to have it in our store, but we can't spend that extra money because we're not going to be able to pay the bills.
A huge difference in this store than, like, say, other Bricklink sellers, and I've heard not just you guys say this, but I've heard customers come in and say this, is that a lot of Bricklink sellers are just doing it out of their garage. It's a hobby, like you guys were talking about earlier. We're a brick and mortar store, so that makes us pretty unique. And supposedly we're the biggest one in the world, or one of the biggest in the world. Is that true?
It's hard to say. Square footage wise, we're not the biggest one in the world, but there's a lot of Lego stores out there that are just they're big. They have a lot of square footage, but it's empty space. Whereas we have about 10,000 square feet. We've got 10,000 square feet, and we're using every square inch of it. I mean, we're always looking at the store like, what could we put in that spot?
Yeah.
How can we squeeze more Lego in this 10,000 square feet, and still make it presentable? So I would say that it is a possibility that we have the most Lego for sale in one spot, which, could make us the world's largest building brick toy store.
Okay. That's why it's worded like that on the website.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we're not a Lego store.
Yeah, you can't say that.
We're just a store that sells nothing but Lego.
What is your relationship with the Lego group?
We really don't have much of a relationship with the Lego group, other than that we really love Lego. The Lego stores locally and around the country actually will send people to us if they're looking for discontinued items.
Okay.
And we'll send people to the Lego store if they're looking for brand new items that we don't have.
You know that Christmas movie with Chevy Chase?
Yes.
What's his name? What's the family's name?
The Griswolds?
The Griswolds, yeah.
That cousin with the Winnebago? That's us.
Eddie. Cousin Eddie.
Cousin Eddie.
Yeah, Cousin Eddie.
Cousin Eddie. That's us. We're Cousin Eddie to Lego.
But they know we exist, and we have kind of a benign relationship. They don't dislike us or like us. I mean,
they sent us a legal document saying what we can and can't do with the name Lego, and such as using the plural form of Lego as Lego, not Legos. So that was in the document. Okay. So it was very informative, and we abide by it every chance we get. It's difficult too, because there's little things in there, such as if we are to say the word Lego in a advertisement, we would have to put the trademark by it, which isn't always Word document friendly or Facebook friendly, because it doesn't put the little R up in the corner for you. It's just this comma,
R, comma. Yeah, that's how YouTube
with
does
the
it.
R in the middle of it. And I had a guy ask me the other day, he's like, hey, what's that R at the end of Lego? Does that mean it's not real? And I'm like, actually, it means it is real.
Yeah.
And then, you can't just say Lego. Like, we have birthday parties at our store, or we had birthday parties
before
prior to the pandemic.
2020.
So we can't call them Lego parties, Lego birthday parties, because they're not owned by Lego. They're not possessed by Lego. So we just call them birthday parties, where we build bricks.
Yeah. I would assume that Lego doesn't care that we exist because they own Bricklink now, which is a reseller.
Yeah, that is one way to look at it. We're Lego's customer because we are on Bricklink, and we're a very large Bricklink seller. We pay Lego monthly fees and selling fees to do Bricklink. But also what's not measured is how many people we get into Lego, the hobby, and how good for Lego we are, because customer service means a lot to us.
Yes.
Ed and I used to sell on eBay, both of us did.
Yeah.
And we learned, I was doing it since probably 2001. Even before eBay, I was selling on Yahoo Auctions.
I was selling different items around 2001. Yeah, we probably started around the same time.
And customer feedback is everything. It's so important.
Yeah.
So that's what motivates Ed and I, is to have the best customer service and the best customer feedback we can get. We want to make Lego look good because that's what we're selling.
Yeah. And
when people come into the store, we have grandmothers bring or grandfathers bring their grandkids into the store because we're a toy store. They had no intention of falling in love with Lego bricks themselves.
Gosh, how many times has that happened?
It happens almost on a weekly basis, I'd say, where the grandmother, grandfather just start buying their own stuff, getting into their own building, and actually starting to come up with their own mocks.
Yeah.
And they tell us, we'll never get into building. Never get into building. Okay.
Yeah.
I believe you. And then they start coming in and buying specific bricks.
I'm not doing it.
I think Lego hits. That's why it's so universal, because if you want just a model, it's a model. If you want a playset, it's a playset. If you want a toy, it's a toy. It can do anything for anyone.
Yeah.
It can get very technical. If you like that sort of thing, they've got motorized. They've hit all
and the
demographics.
Market of lighting kits. And I've got a guy, he's a finance guy in Fayetteville. He had us do a couple architecture sets for him for his display, for his store, his office.
His office, okay.
And he absolutely loves it. It looks beautiful. It's amazing how these lighting kits, how they just make that set pop.
Yeah.
And his clients like to come in there and look at that kind of stuff. And
We did the White House and the U.S. Capitol.
U.S. Capitol,
Yeah.
and the White House.
And we have all things that Lego doesn't offer, like the battle bricks and things like that.
Military things that Lego won't get into, aftermarket weapons, Lego has never come out with Boba Fett's rifle, or Jango Fett's blasters, whereas other companies such as Big Kid Bricks or Brick Arms have come out with like very specific, detailed.
It looks exactly.
Weapons that we offer, and we sell those things.
And the digital printing on some of these custom figs are just absolutely amazing.
That's the thing that blows me away. This is the custom superheroes that they've never made, or they never made like the 90s version.
Printed arms, printed legs, the back of legs printed, 3D molded, custom molded, injection molded items, headgear. I mean, it's artwork.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of time to build those things, so that's what makes them so expensive.
It sounds like we've had a lot of great advice already, but someone who does want to get into Bricklink selling, what would be your advice to them?
And as I said earlier, that's why we talked about my epic fail. Got to be organized. You have to be organized. That's not. You can't stress it more than anything, and you can't be in love with the product.
You can't be in love with the product. You got to be able to let it go. You could start taking from yourself. I hate to say steal, but you start stealing from yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I need that to build, and
that's a really
I got it right there in Bricklink, and and even if it's not an expensive part, it's in your inventory.
Yeah.
And if you use that part, it's too time consuming to go on to Bricklink, find that part in your inventory, you take it off your inventory. So a lot of times you just don't do it, and then somebody orders it and you need to replace that part,
and you're taking it off your mock.
Oh yeah, and then you got to take it off your mock. It is extremely hard to have that balance.
Okay.
So
separate yourself.
When we started out of our garages. So I would start very small and get it figured out. And when the reason we first opened a store wasn't to open a retail store. The reason was to open a warehouse where our employees who were filling Bricklink orders could come and have air conditioning and use a bathroom, because we didn't have that in our garages. Ed was working out of his garage, I was working out of my garage.
There was that bucket in the corner, but that got stinky.
My ex, she wouldn't let anybody in the house to use the bathroom. And it's like, the garage door's here, the bathroom's right there. It won't even make any noise. Yeah, that was a problem.
The bucket.
That was a problem.
Hey, John, don't drink too much water before you come to work.
Right. And John, you guys got to meet John. He was what, this big when he was started working with us?
Yeah, he's been working for us for 7 or 8 years now.
He's this tall.
Yeah.
And he used to climb the shelves, the shelves to get at the Lego. It was hilarious.
Was he the first employee that we still have?
He and his brother Alex, and it's been neat seeing John. He went from being a normal builder to start experimenting with mocks, and now he's as good as it gets for mock building.
Amazing.
He's built some of our Star Wars mocks out in the store, and they're as good as it gets for Star Wars mocks.
Yeah.
And then Starcourt Mall from Stranger Things, he built that, and I mean could be a professional builder now.
So yeah, we started as a warehouse, but then we decided, well, since we're paying all this money on a building, let's put a cash register in here and let's bring people in.
Let's make it pretty.
And then Chris was like, well, then let's do pick-a-brick and let's do parties and let's do workshops, and then it just began to just explode. It took us months to get a wall built. We thought we had a transmission shop that was a warehouse, and we thought we'd just get 2 bays. Let's be conservative about this. Let's just get 2 bays. Let's play it safe. It took them how many months to build that wall? We didn't get open until Thanksgiving because it took them 3 or 4 months to build a wall separating that 1 bay.
Yeah.
And then we tried to have parties out of one little square room that was a 12 by 12 maybe, and it didn't work out. It was so compact and crowded. So we had to go to the renters and like, hey, you know that wall you built in that other section? Did anybody get that section yet? No. Can we have it? Yeah.
Can we tear the wall down?
Get out of my office. Get out. Okay, just a little hole, maybe a little hole. Get out of here.
Well, and so where I was going with that space is that we had our Bricklink inventory behind the counter, in sorted bins, and it looked great. It looked really cool. We've got all these parts back there, and people would come up and ask for parts, and we would pull them off the wall, and we would not take them out of our Bricklink inventory. It was impossible. We just couldn't do it. A customer is checking out, and you can't say, hey, wait, just stand there and wait 30 minutes while I go and take all these parts off of Bricklink. So then we said, okay, well, why don't we just start keeping track and we do it later? It doesn't happen. You don't do it later.
And the way some of the kids were writing stuff down was they would write on the piece of paper, and then it'd curve down on the edge and then go over here. I'm like, what is this?
So we were selling our Bricklink inventory in the storefront, and that didn't work. That was us, basically stealing from ourselves. So now what works is keeping our Bricklink inventory in the basement. Mm-hmm. And we still have the same setup behind the counter, but it's not on Bricklink. We probably have just as many parts, but they're just not on Bricklink. And that's the only way we can make it work. But even when I'm building a mock, I'm tempted to go down to Bricklink and just sit there and have all these bricks around me and build whatever I want. It makes you a much better builder when you have unlimited access to bricks. But luckily, I don't have to do that now because we have our own inventory upstairs that's not on.
And that's great. When people come in and they need parts, we help them with parts, kind of like the AutoZone of Lego. Mm-hmm. And we'll pull the parts for them, and sometimes we can get online, see what we have in our inventory downstairs, pull it out of our inventory right then and there.
Let me ask you this. Do you guys have Lego collections at home yourself? Or is it like when you were talking about you got to separate yourself, you can't love it?
I still have Lego in my attic from when me and the kids played with it, and when I built with it, and it's sorted by color, and we just don't have room in the store for it.
Okay.
Maybe 100 pounds of Lego.
Okay.
But nothing special.
So you don't have a set that you keep on a shelf?
Not at all. Not at all. This is my collection right here. Mm-hmm. So anything really cool, a mock that I build or something I want to keep, I put it at my desk over there.
Okay.
But that's it. I don't have anything at home.
How about you?
The only Lego I have at home is what I bring home to work on to sort.
Okay.
But I don't have any modulars, nothing. And I love the product, but ask me about my motorcycle, my tools.
Every day when I go home, I bring Lego home with me to sort.
Yeah.
And work. I bring my work home with me.
So it's like you said, the whole store is your collection. I mean, it literally is, and figuratively. Okay.
Yeah. And we don't mind selling anything.
Yeah.
Because
except for those cutouts,
something is gonna take its place.
Yeah.
And like those cutouts that you're talking about, those big cool Lego 4 foot tall poison ivy and stuff. We're not really those weren't supposed to be sold. In fact, I think Lego has a rule that you're not allowed to sell those.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if those rules apply to us, but we don't want to sell them because we need decorations.
Yeah, and they're cool looking.
And they're cool, and we could never have something made with that kind of quality.
Yeah. Someone, when I did a Facebook live feed, asked for those, and Chris very politely let them down.
And this is our birthday party room that we're in now. The room formerly known as our birthday party room, and now it's our Lego processing room. But we have the cutouts all over the walls, and they're blocked right now by Lego.
So will birthdays ever return? Because this room has transformed into the workstation.
We do have plans for adding on to this building.
Okay.
And that's when birthday parties would return, when we add on to the building. So it could be another year out.
What is the future plans? Is there anything you can give away? Any plans that are ruminating that you guys are looking to do?
The biggest plans that we have are expanding the building that we're in, because Lego takes up so much space. We have probably close to 15,000 square feet. We've got the basement. We've got a storage locker down the street. We've got back rooms, stock rooms, and trailers out back, and we still need more space. And eventually we need to say to ourselves, how much space is enough? Because it's not, you're not making money by just storing Lego. And you're also not making money by having too much on display that's not for sale, such as our city, our train set that we have out there. But at the same time, we want to give people stuff to look at when they come to the store.
Yeah.
So I could see our store being twice the size that it is, with absolutely everything you're looking at being for sale and having more mocks set up. You know,
a lot more to look at
on a permanent display, and everything inside those mocks is for sale. You know, we have people asking all the time, how much are those modular buildings inside your city, those custom built buildings? And I think we've sold almost every building once, and I love selling them because we can build another
just replace it
and replace it. Yeah.
Oh, Chris, a lot of people call us up and ask us how much does it cost to come here. You want to address that?
Yeah, like it's a museum.
Yeah,
we're an attraction.
Kind of like it's an attraction, and we want to make it. You know, we are a destination. People drive hours to get here from out of state, and so when they
over
come,
the world, actually,
we want them to be satisfied. You know, and they always are. Everybody's always satisfied. People get hotel rooms. They stay the night, and they show up the next morning. Sometimes they spend all day. They'll come back the next day, and you know, that's a lot of pressure on us to
perform and
did it meet your expectations? So the best thing they can do is look at our YouTube video that from Beyond the Brick that was 2.5 hours long. It takes them around the entire store, but so they can see what they're getting into. You know, of course everything changes, but it always changes for the better. 2 years ago when we moved into this space, which was twice the space as before, we had half the stuff. You know, we filled it up
easily
in a year, and now we're exploding. We have sets sitting over here that we don't even have room for to put out, you know, for sale.
Where would we expand? How would you expand?
Out back.
Yeah, some room in the back.
This is a big lot that we're on.
Okay.
So we would double the size of the space.
Wow.
Because Lego takes up a lot of space.
I want to put a cafe in here. Because parents come in with their kids and they want to leave, so they got nothing to do.
Yeah, we've thought about mini golf, and I mean, because mini golf would be a cool way to build mocks and have people be able to see the Lego, but at the same time be able to play mini golf while they're looking at all this really cool
something
Lego.
interactive. Yeah,
you know,
would it be outside
more interactive
or inside?
things? Yeah, right now we really don't have much interaction. A lot of people. In fact, we got a bad review online one time that the person said, this was a couple years ago, but they said, not enough interactive things for kids to do. And it's like, we're just a retail store.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we are. We're just a retail store.
I went to Walmart and there's nothing for us to play with in here.
I mean,
but they were expecting
I guess
a Lego store.
They were expecting like the Legoland Discovery Center, and which they have amusement park rides. Yeah. You know, and that's not us. We're nothing like that, and hopefully we're nothing like any store anyone's ever been in. There are a lot of independently owned building brick toy stores. Almost every city has one, but those are set up more like a comic book shop, you know, or a baseball card store or a toy store. We're kind of like a toy store museum on steroids.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's what we want to give people as an experience like they can't find any place else.
Yeah. I know when I discovered you guys, I was blown away that you were so close. And to me, it was like living next door to your crack dealer. It was very dangerous.
Well, you were living under that bridge when we found you.
That's right. That brings me to another issue that people have asked me. Why aren't we in the city? Is it just because of where you guys live? You guys don't want to pay the big costs of the renting?
Yes.
Atlanta is terrible traffic.
Horrible. Yes, and yes. I mean, I live right around the corner this way. Ed lives around the corner that way. This is affordable. We could afford to be here. We've looked at opening another store up in the city. And
people have begged you guys to open one on the north side.
And we were thinking about it, but it's right now. It's really not in our wheelhouse. We just don't have the time. We'd like to get this organized.
Yeah, our online store. Yeah, you know, we want our online store to reflect the storefront. That's really hard to do because everything is just so one-off. It would take a while.
It's constantly changing.
It's constantly changing.
That table's full of stuff that came in last night.
It's everything's different. You know, all sets are different.
You don't want to grow too fast.
We've got a monorail we're getting ready to put out in its original box. We might get that monorail again, but it might not have its original box, and so you can't just update your inventory online by clicking a button. It takes a lot more work than that. So we're working on trying to figure that out.
We could right now open up a store if we wanted to.
We could open a store anywhere we want, but part of my internal motivation is that store would have to be as big as we are now. And otherwise it would be like an Atlanta Brick Coat Express store. Be like a smaller version of the store. I mean, how could you open up a store and offer that much and have that much space? It would just be too expensive.
Spreading yourself out too thin.
Yeah.
There's a saying in business, pigs get fat, but hogs get slaughtered. You try to do too much too fast, you'll have problems. You're going to fail. So we're going to do it right. Do it slow, do it easy. And if one day when we can, we'll look at that opportunity. We'll look at that. We'll explore that. But right now, we're having fun and we're building something really cool here, and we want to make it good. We want to make it great.
And that's what Ed said about having fun. Is I used to have a career where I made more money, and I didn't have fun. I'm having a lot more fun now, and my life is a lot more satisfying. Not making as much money, but having fun is extremely important. And if we had other stores that we had to manage, that's not fun.
It's not fun anymore.
That's not fun. We're trying to keep it fun and enjoy ourselves.
Thank you guys so much. So you guys said you didn't have big Lego collections at home, but do you have a specific Lego set or minifigure that really resonates with you? Is there something you wanted that you never got?
I like it all. I love everything Lego has ever done. I like the Belleville girl stuff because they came out with these unique pieces that you can't find in any other sets. And a lot of times you look at it and like, that's not Lego. Oh yeah, it is. Like the Belleville honey pot, that they actually did use later on the X-Wing, that first UCS X-Wing. And so those little honey pots are worth $30 now. I like that. I like the fact that those exist. I mean, it's just neat, And it's also neat that they used it in these other weird sets, But I brought some examples to show you over here. I like some really odd stuff that has really cool backstories, that Lego has made up these backstories on the people.
Brand new sealed.
This is the Alpha Team set from...
That is sealed.
This is from the late 90s, early 2000s, 2002. And the bad guy here is like a James Bond bad guy. His name is Ogle. And it's Lego spelled backwards. I mean, it's just so simple. But it's a story. And Ogle has minions that have skeleton faces. And then they have all these other characters that they've given names to, like Flex. There's Flex right there. There's Cam. Here's Dash over here. And it's very James Bond style to me.
Secret mission collectors.
Secret missions, agents. And what's really cool is that, and this is one thing that I just love about Lego, is that you can mix different things together, right? And Lego actually made a backstory in one of their video games where Lord Vladek from Knight's Kingdom Castle theme is a distant ancestor of Ogle. And if you actually look at their faces, they have similar facial structures.
About that era in the 90s, you look at the pieces, they're neon. Translucent neon. You don't see many of that much now, like you used to back in those days.
Nexo Knights was, I think, the last one.
And a lot of people want... they did, but it's different elements. Those old elements, those windshields, everybody wants them.
So what about you? Do you have a set or a minifigure that...
I like modulars. I like those buildings because you can put lights in them. You can do all kinds of stuff with them. Like,
we just got this guy in.
Is awesome. Garage is great.
And this... your gearhead.
I'm a gearhead. This is my thing right here. We need a 68 Camaro in there somewhere.
When you have time, you can build one.
Lego already has one.
There is a vehicle in here. Maybe Ed can tell us what this is. Let's see.
Garage is stuck.
There's some garage door maintenance
here. Man, I gotta call a maintenance guy.
The hood comes off, and there's an engine inside. That is really
sweet,
cool.
Really?
It's a tow truck.
It's a tow truck.
Here we are destroying Lego sets.
This is a 68 Ford.
68 Ford tow truck.
Nice.
And this is Joe's garage.
Cleanest garage I've ever seen, dude.
And it says on the front, on the sign, you see what the front sign says, "By accident, we meet."
I love the 20s, 30s gas pump
Oh yeah.
too.
Oh, I love those. Yeah.
Yeah, those are very
That's
That's
cool.
what I like about Legos. The details,
Yeah.
the little details they put
Yeah.
into these things.
Is there anything else you want to say for our first podcast? What are we going to call it? Talking studs? Did we?
Yeah.
Do?
We've got some things. Maybe studs talking studs.
Okay. I am proud.
Studless.
Studless. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for taking the time. I know we're taking you away from your other job a little bit, but thank you so much for coming in. I had a lot of fun, and I learned a lot of stuff. I had heard a lot of this before, but not all of it. So it was fun to get the whole story. Anything else you guys want to say or mention?
It helps that we're friends.
Yeah. Ed and I get along really well.
We're friends, but we're also business partners. So we compartmentalize well. Business is business. Friends is friends. Like 1 minute he wants to choke the living tar out of me, and then like at the end of the day it's, hey, let's go grab a beer.
Yeah.
So that's how it is.
Yeah,
And
that's important.
Yeah.
A lot of when I considered going into business with Ed, a lot of people will give you advice on the internet. A lot of friends and family will give you advice. You hear a lot of stuff, and business partners are hard. It's like being in a marriage, and 50% of marriages end in divorce. So you're already entering into a
Volatile.
very volatile relationship, and you've got to be able to get along with your business partner. And we get along great. He yells at me, I yell at him, and then
you make up?
We drink coffee together. Yeah. So
Well, thank you, guys. Thank you so much. I'll let you guys get to work, and I got to get to work too.
cool. Yeah, Justin, you do.
Yeah, right.
I'm goofing around. I gotta go clock in now. The reason why Chris couldn't get this up is because this is an automatic garage, and now it's all tangled up. So now that they're gone,
Whatever, roll the credits.
I'm gonna try to fix this. Aha. I got it. Had to take the whole front off and the top to fix it, but it wasn't that bad. Bye.